Hey YouTube, welcome back to the channel. Today's video we're going to show you how to remove the front bumper on a 2016 Mercedes E300, and we're going to do it right now. Hey YouTube, let's get right into removing this front bumper. Now it's a little tricky, so stay till the end and I'll show you the real secret to removing this bumper without doing any damage, because it is a German vehicle and there are a few little quirks. It's not as easy as a domestic vehicle. So there is a little bit of insight, but I'm going to show you that. So we don't want you damaging this vehicle. So as we look at the top here, there's no cover on this area here. At least there wasn't on this vehicle. I don't think there is. There's a cover here and a cover here, but you don't have to remove those. So over on the driver's side of the vehicle, we're going to look right here. And that is a 8 millimeter bolt that attaches there to the housing or the header panel. Okay. It also has these plastic inserts that go from the bumper. These are part of the bumper. They slide and lock in place. So these little tabs right here. Let me get you a better light. There's one and two tabs right there. Those kind of have a little edge on them that lock them in. I just pry it up on it with a little screwdriver, give it a little tug, loosen it up, and then move on to the next one. There's one in the center here. Same deal. No bolts. They just slide in, snap in place. And then one here. So there's three on the top, and then right here is the other 8 millimeter bolt for the top. And once you have those out and have these tabs loosened up, you can just give a little tug. I've already loosened this up, so it's not quite that easy. And loosen it up. Now you don't want to try and pull it all the way off, because you still have things attaching it on either side and underneath. So let's go underneath and let me show you what we have there. Okay, so over here on the left side of the vehicle, the driver's side of the vehicle, we are looking at the lower part of the bumper cover. We've loosened up this splash shield, and I'm going to show you that a little bit detailed later, but these are the clips that clip into this splash shield. And I'll show you that at the end. That's where it's a little bit more difficult to get that bumper loose. But underneath, there is one right here. Okay, there's a engine cover or splash shield that goes on underneath this engine to keep water from splashing onto the engine and mud. This goes right there underneath. Okay. And then there is one 10 millimeter bolt. Let me show you that. Same as this one, in the center right here. Okay, see, this is actually pulled loose. I've got it pulled forward, but it goes through this and into there. Okay, and that attaches the bumper to the splash shield. You do need to remove this engine cover. This engine cover slides. It slides right up there like that, okay? Let me show you where the bolts are. So it sits up there like that. And there's bolts. There's one here. You gotta take out the one here. And then there's one there. And one on the other side. And then there's, can you see that? One right there. And there's one in the center and on the other side. So once you get they're 8 millimeter bolts. Once you get those removed, you can drop this down, slide this out of the way. And then let me show you what we have that's holding the bumper on. It's a little bit more tricky. We have the engine cover removed from underneath here. Okay. And I realize it's a little bit difficult filming under this like this, but I got to show you this because it's difficult. It's a little secret to taking this off that you might not know, and it's going to really help you out. But right there, once you get that engine cover off, I'm going to point to it with the light. Right there is a bolt. See that bolt? You got to remove that. That's on the right side, and there's one on the left side as well. See it? That's gonna attach this bumper, keep this bumper from coming off. If you have everything else off, that's gonna keep it from coming off. So Those need to be removed, that side, and then on the other side. And that's the way you have to get to them. You have to get to them from underneath, okay? Now we come to the secret that you need to know to remove this bumper safely without doing any damage to your bumper. And this gets a little tricky here. But first of all, what we need to do, and what I'm gonna recommend for you, is to jack this vehicle up and get it off the ground to remove this tire. Right here, underneath the vehicle, there's a block of plastic. You'll see that is a jack point for this Mercedes. It's important that you use that jack point and jack it up there so you don't do any damage to the underneath of your vehicle. Moving on, what I would recommend is you to remove this tire, or at the very least turn it inward so you have access to underneath this bumper. Because what you're going to need to do, and it's a little bit tricky, and it's not like every other domestic vehicle, is you're going to need a T25 torque bit. And if you don't have one, I recommend getting a set of torque bits. Especially if you own a German car, you're going to need these. These are going to come in really handy. I'll leave a link in the description. Also, I'm using a 1/4 inch ratchet with a little bit of an extension, okay? As you can see, I've turned the tire inward so you have some access to this splash shield here, okay? Because you're going to need to, I would recommend removing the tire and removing this section of splash shield. What holds that splash shield in, and let me show you these, are these clips here. They just have a center tab there that you pull out, and then you can remove the clip, okay? Okay, so what we have is we have one of the push-in clips here. This is the clip. We have one here, same clip, and then one right there. It is, okay? So those 3 clips, they're a little bit difficult to remove to get that, but choose your favorite tool. These are the tools I've used. Any one of those will do. This one seemed to work the best, okay? So once you have that out, peel back this splash shield. This will loosen it from the bumper. And this is the secret. This is really the secret, and it's a part you may struggle with. It's a little bit difficult, but you cannot just pull this bumper loose. It has 2 T25 torque bolts. One that goes right here up into the fender. And then it has another one that goes right here. This is the one that's a little bit more difficult to access. So it's easier if you pull this off. I peeled it back and I got a ratchet in there with a T25 torque bit head, a little extension, and this worked perfectly, okay? Took a little time, patience, and you'll get it. This bumper, I've already taken these off, has a couple tabs. And when I get this bumper off, I'll show you the inside of this so you have a good idea of what you're looking at. But what it has is it has a tab right here that goes up into a hole. That's just a guide tab. This is where it bolts in. This is another guide tab that locks in place there. Another little tab, guide pin, and then this is where the other one bolts in. So that's the most difficult part of this process. Okay, YouTube, that is a good look at the jack point on this Mercedes E300. The side skirt is removed on this side. It's on the opposite side, so you can really, it's exposed this jack point, and that's a safe way to jack up your vehicle. So I just wanted to show you that so you have an idea what it looks like. So another little thing you need to know about this guide pin, what it does, and let me see if I can get some light on it. It slides, and if you can see right in there, I'm sorry for the shaking, it slides up in there and it slides back, okay? So it slides up in there and then back, and that kind of, as you guide these pins into the holes, okay? So it's a little bit tricky, but when you're taking it off, don't just pull it straight off. You got to slide it forward a little bit first and then loose, okay? And that'll expose, loosen the bumper so it can be removed. Okay, so this Mercedes bumper is loose now. Let me show you what I was trying to show you from underneath. Right here is where that 10mm bolt goes. This is a 10mm. It goes through there and into right there on this bumper. And it's all hidden underneath, so you got to get it from underneath, okay? The other bolts are 8mm, but that's the only two that are 10. This harness has to be, these are for the fog lights. There's a little tab here that you decompress, and then you can push this. Oh no, I'm sorry. There's a slide. See that right there? That slides in and out. So you slide that out. I just put a screwdriver in there and wiggled it a little bit. That slides out, and then this should unhook. Okay, so there it is, unhooked. That was a little bit of a pain. Really had to push on it. There's the other half so you can see it. But yeah, you have to, right here on this one, there is a thing that slides down in and locks it in. You got to slide that up. This one broke off. It happens, but this thing is not coming off, I'll tell you what, because it was a pain to get apart. So if you get frustrated, just take a break and then go back to it. But this is how this is where it comes apart. So it does come apart. Sometimes you might think it won't, but it will. But so that's it. Let me show you. I appreciate each and every one of you watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't. I hope this information was helpful. This is one of the more difficult bumpers to take apart.